I am.
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 We are Church in the Circle.
My first Sunday here was actually the Sunday right before Mother's Day in May.
1962.
In 2003.
A little over a year.
1990. 2012.
1971.
About a year ago. August 2013.
2011.
About 22 years ago.
2003.
In 2010.
Yeah, my name is Ken Chalker. I am a pastor of University Circle United Methodist Church. But I have been associated with the church in the city of Cleveland since 1986.
This place has always been a place where I've felt safe, where I could bring whatever concerns, problems, feelings I had and know that somebody was here that could help and listen and love me through it.
We hear about that, but what does it really mean? I've never experienced such unconditional love.
I tried several different churches over a period of about 4 months. This place, I had never felt so welcomed.
When the church says all are welcome all the time, they actually mean it. It's completely embodied within all the members of the church.
It wasn't like staunch and formal. It had that feeling of, come on in here and be with me, stay a while with me.
They are also very accepting. They believe in teaching rather than chastising.
I'm sure you've heard the word again and again. It's very diverse.
Our society does have a legacy of segregation and racial hatred. And by us practicing diversity, I think it really helps heal some of those wounds.
I'd like to think that our church takes a bigger step toward actually being truly inclusive with the Gay Straight Alliance program we have at church.
I've introduced him, this is my partner, and there is no hint of judgment.
And when we walked up the stairs and into the door, we were greeted so warmly. It wasn't only a verbal expression of welcoming, there was that nonverbal expression of welcome too. Come on in here.
For me, it's very open and very connecting. They're really doing a very good job. It's just like I'm an outsider. I'm from India, the different country, different cultures. They invited me to perform because when I was stayed in India, I never got invited from any church.
We wanted to belong to a church that looked like the world, represented the world.
It's interesting in its placement in that, there are 3 major institutions surrounding Wade Lagoon. You've got the Art Museum, you've got Severance Hall with the orchestra, and then we're the 3rd corner of that triangle. And I think this place could be viewed and should be viewed as a real institution for service, not only to the folks who attend here every Sunday, and hopefully in its outreach to the community as well.
My husband and I have made friends and relationships here through the choir, the young adults group, and also through our children because our sons are now involved in the educational programming here, which is perfect. It turns out, we started coming here before we had kids, but it turns out that the children's programming is perfect too. It's just what we wanted.
The major difference for me is the worship arts component that fits in as an integral part of the liturgy, not as a performance or as an aside, but it's a part of the service. It's a part of the passion that you get from the service, so that the music complements the sermon, the dance complements the music, the whole thing complements the congregation, whom a lot of times are asked to be involved.
Then we heard the minister. So we were able to hear the word and to also understand the word in today's context. So that was beautiful.
Just to listen to Dr. Chalker and the sermons that are so potent and that are so historic, but also so good for what we experience today.
The big issue is, what's its relevance for today? How does that emotional relevance, that contextual setting, have anything to do with the way we live life now? And that's a real struggle, because so much of that, things have changed in 2,000 years, but the basic emotional needs of people, the way we treat each other, the way folks act in power or not in power, with money or not in money, all those things, that is essentially the same, I think. And I don't know how you can convey the gospel any other way than excitement, compassion, and interest and all those things. And if those of us who are preaching about Jesus are boring, irrelevant, putting folks to sleep because we're just yapping about some theology that doesn't really matter at all, then we're not representing the gospel.
And so to me, that's what's vitally important to how we do ministry, is that it's not just Sunday morning. It's 7 days a week, and we come back to the filling station on Sunday.
And what do I get from the congregation? Well, there are many things, but I don't look out and see a congregation. I look out and see friends, and I look out and see people that I'm a part of, and we're not separated. So when I say look out, it's simply because if I'm up on the chancel speaking to folks, I'm looking out, but we're all together in this. And this whole thing with the chancel redesign and redevelopment, 98% of what motivated and is important in that is that what was there, and this was true at former First Church as well, what was there in architecture reflected a we-them attitude that the church had. This is for the ordained folk, here's for the masses. It's a complete change of that. It's opening it up, enabling us to be we instead of we-they, where we are a community of faith, informing each other, connected. So from the very beginning, the congregation, I'm a part of it. They accepted me into their lives, and we learn from one another. I think we need to support what we treasure. And what does support mean? A guide for many people is with our prayers, with our presence, and with our treasure, our financial gifts. We're not a museum. We're a living, thriving community of faith, and that's what we've got to support. I am Church in the Circle. And what that means to me is that I am participating in a God thing. And that's not preacher talk. It's the absolute truth.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
We are Church in the Circle.